you're not a wrestler. You said it before. The athletic part was never going to be your thing. Did they ever ask you, or did anybody in ECW ever ask you to do anything you weren't comfortable with in the ring? Is there any bumps, like anything that you said you weren't too crazy about?
No, I was the shits at it. Don't get me wrong, right? Like I'm not you're not going to get me to like recant it. I am not a wrestler. Having said that, like towards the end, like in 2000, a few months before the company folded, I worked. There were two novelty matches that I was a part of that there, but for the grace of my opponents went I, and they carried me. But I was with Don Callis, Cyrus on pay-per-view, beat him. And Blue
I'm sorry,
Meanie,
repeat that. What was that part?
yeah, I beat him. I defeated
Oh,
him.
got it.
I
Want to make sure I heard that right.
defeated him. Yeah, while
Got it.
dressed like White Kamala 2000 and wearing Lucky Charm symbols on, I soundly defeated him. And I think maybe either right around that time, I forget if it was a tune-up for it right before or if it was right after. But I did a match with Meanie, Blue Meanie, at TV in Danbury, Connecticut. And he was with at the time Jasmine St. Clair. And I beat him and kissed her after the match. So 2-0 as a pro wrestler. As far as stuff that I wasn't comfortable with, no, because I was willing to take any bump because I couldn't wrestle. So the only way that I could tell a story physically, much to my chagrin, and maybe I'm feeling it now 25 years later, and maybe I'll be feeling it even more for the next 25 years. But I couldn't go out there and have my own finisher and be on the offense and have a spectacular moveset. I wasn't RVD. I wasn't Jerry Lynn or Sabu. So as a manager, and this makes more sense as a manager anyway, I was a crash test dummy. I was on defense and I was taking manager bumps. I loved rolling out of the ring and smacking the floor, the concrete floor. I got very kind of good at that, much to my chagrin. And hopefully, this isn't something that bites me in the ass later in life. But I took quite a few chair shots from New Jack, got put through a table a couple times. I got whipped by Sandman with the cane. And that, that put welts on me. I was living at home at the time that summer. I was in, home from, it was a summer break from college, but I wound up not going back. But it was summer and I had just finished up third year of college and I was living at home. And I'd come out of the shower and I was wearing a towel, I guess, around my waist or whatever. And it was a couple of days after the arena show. And I forget if it was my mom or my dad that saw my back after the cane shots. And they made me write up this kind of like this one sheet, like this little letter that I wrote saying that I would never do anything like that again, that I had to sign as long as I was living under their roof. I didn't adhere to it. So I don't lie very much at all in life, but that one kind of went by the wayside. But yeah, just a lot of kind of managerial bumps. I took everybody's finish. When I started out as a heel, there was a time around 96, 97, the pay-per-views, the first ones, whenever it was, early with the Dudleys. There was a time where I took pretty much every babyface's finish in the locker room. Nothing I was ever uncomfortable with. I never really thought that I would like the idea of blading, and it never came up. And I think it was the dangled carrot that was always out there that maybe some people were waiting to see that. So there was heat and anticipation and jeopardy in making sure it didn't happen. And there is an interesting story in Queens, at one of the shows in Queens. I want to get it right. Pitbull 2, Anthony, came up to me. It wound up as a rib. He told me that they wanted me to get color that night. They didn't really, but he told me they did, either as a rib or as a test. And before I could react to it, New Jack was there. And New Jack started shitting on it and poo-pooing it and saying it didn't make any sense. And the two of them started to go at it in the locker room over whether I should or shouldn't blade, when I think there really wasn't an intention for me to blade at all that. So, I mean, just, crazy stuff like that. But But yeah, no, I never had any problem with doing anything physical that I could do, because that's the least I could do, because everybody else is out there 15, 20, 25 minutes at a time, putting themselves in realer peril, doing more physically than I'm doing physically, so that I can eat. So I didn't have anything.
Did you get along? How'd you get along with Don Callis?
Don was cool. Don, I was a fan of. I admired his work. I admired his work as the Jackal on Vince's TV. So when he came in, I said, it happened too when Jamie Dundee came in. There were guys who I knew could talk, and instead of take the tack of, I'm going to do what I can to sabotage these guys, I'm not wired that way. So when guys like Jamie Dundee or Cyrus would come in that I admired, I never felt at risk. I never felt like my spot was in peril, and I never felt like doing anything about theirs. I wanted everybody to get along and make a better product. So they would come in. Cyrus, for example, would come in, and I would say to myself, it's time to step up. It's time to step your game up. And it's time to prove that if there should be a head-to-head and you're programmed with this guy, that you belong and that you deserve.
Okay, so let's plug your stuff. How can people reach you? Promoters want to reach you. Fans want to hear your podcast, your YouTube. Let's hear it.
All right. So you can reach me, I would say my Instagram is Quintessential Stud Muffin. My TikTok is Quintessential Stud Muffin. My Twitter is Stud Muffin Says. I host a podcast called 69-Minute Eargasm. You can find that wherever podcasts are, wherever you're going for all of your other podcasts that you listen to, you can find us there. You can also now find us on YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel. So 69-Minute Eargasm. What else do I have going on? I'm going to be at Legends of Hamburg in early September in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, at the Fieldhouse. It's actually September 16th. 2 weeks after that, on September 30th, I'm going to be at 90s Wrestling Con that Tommy Fierro is producing in New Jersey. Yeah, are you going to be there?
I help Tommy with all of the events. I can't wait to
nice.
see you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, Hamburg in September, Hamburg on the 16th. 90s Wrestling Con in Jersey on the 30th. I do charity resale auctions on my Facebook. So facebook.com/MXW Joel Gertner. It's my main personal page on Facebook. So it's the one that's got, I guess, as close to 5,000 followers as whatever, because that's where the max out is. I say that because like there are a few different pages. But if you can find my main primary Facebook page, and I hype this stuff, once you're if you can find me on one social media channel, especially two, you're going to find me on all 5, 6, 7, whatever it is. But we do these auctions. I'd like to be doing them every, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks. I think effectively I do them closer to about once a month. St. Jude is a frequent beneficiary almost every time. The one that we just did a week or two ago, half of the proceeds going to St. Jude, the other half going to Shotzi's sister's GoFundMe. So I'm doing that. Cameo. Yeah, I'm on Cameo. So you can find me there, cameo.com/Joel Gertner, Pro Wrestling Tees/Joel Gertner. I've got trading cards, ECW trading cards from Historical Cards and Collectibles. I'm going to be letting people know about those in the next week or so online. Action figures are coming out in the next few months. Yeah, just trying to stay busy.